What if the sun suddenly turned into a black hole? Imagine you're watching this video right now and boom, everything goes dark. Not like a normal night, total, absolute darkness. The sun is gone. In its place is a tiny black dot in the sky you can't see. What happens next? Does Earth get flung off into space like a lost ball? Or do we get stretched into spaghetti and swallowed by that monster? In this video, we'll see what would happen if the center of our solar system became a black hole. First, let me put your mind at ease. Our sun will not turn into a black hole anytime soon. In fact, it will never do so. The sun is too small to become a black hole. Stars that collapse into black holes need to be far more massive, roughly 20 times the mass of our sun or more. Our sun will, billions of years from now, swell into a red giant and then end up as a white dwarf. But let's pretend the impossible happens and the sun magically becomes a black hole with exactly the same mass as the sun. What then? Short answer. For the first 8 minutes and 20 seconds, nothing. Absolutely nothing noticeable. That's because changes in light and changes in gravity propagate at a finite speed. It takes about 8 minutes for sunlight to travel from the sun to Earth, and changes in the gravitational field propagate on the same timescale. So the last photons emitted by the sun before it died and the last news about its gravity arrive here together. During those 8 minutes, Earth would keep orbiting exactly as before, only now the star we orbit is invisible. The sky would still look bright, and we'd be going about our daily lives unaware that the heart of the solar system has forever changed. After 8 minutes and 20 seconds, things start to get real. The most obvious, immediate thing is the darkness. Utter darkness unlike any night you've experienced. The moon and bright planets like Venus and Mars would vanish from the sky because there's no sunlight to reflect. The only light left would be from distant stars, which would seem unusually bright against the black backdrop. Now to the big question. Would Earth be pulled straight into this black hole and swallowed? Here we need to bury a common misconception. Many people picture black holes as cosmic vacuum cleaners that can suck up everything from great distances. The truth is simpler. The gravitational force from any object, star or black hole, depends only on its mass and your distance from its center. In our hypothetical scenario, the black hole has exactly the sun's mass. That means the gravitational pull at Earth's distance, about 150 million kilometers, would be exactly the same as it was before. Earth and the other planets would continue orbiting in the same paths and at the same speeds as before, as if nothing had happened. Fascinating, right? We wouldn't be instantly devoured. Instead, we'd become an orphaned planet circling the grave of its mother star. And yes, we wouldn't be spaghettified right away. That's actually good news. But the real problems are only just beginning. With the sun's light and heat gone, Earth would start to cool rapidly. Not instantly. The atmosphere and oceans store a lot of heat, so the planet would lose warmth over time. Think of Earth like a hot cup of coffee put into a gigantic freezer called space. It takes a while for the heat to... The global average surface temperature now is about 15 degrees Celsius. Within roughly a week, it would fall below freezing. After about a year, global average temperatures could plummet to around minus 73 degrees Celsius. The surface of the oceans would begin to freeze. The upper layers would form thick ice that acts as an insulating blanket, trapping heat in the deep. Those deep waters would remain comparatively warm for thousands of years, thanks to heat from Earth's interior. But the surface would turn into a dark, frozen wasteland, with hardly any resemblance to the planet we know. It's important to remember that Earth's internal heat, produced by radioactive decay in the core and mantle, is an independent energy source that will keep working for billions of years, regardless of the sun. Let's step through what would happen next. First, nearly all surface life would be obliterated. Nearly every marine ecosystem depends on microscopic phytoplankton doing photosynthesis. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stops immediately. Phytoplankton die within days, and the rest of the food web collapses in domino fashion. Zooplankton die, then small fish, then bigger fish, and so on. The marine snow, the shower of dead organic matter that falls to the deep sea and feeds creatures there, would cease, causing a catastrophic food shortage in the deep ocean. But, and this is a big but, in the deep ocean, where sunlight never reached even before, life already exists that doesn't depend on photosynthesis. Hydrothermal vent communities around black smokers are driven by chemosynthesis. Seawater percolates into the crust, gets superheated by magma, becomes rich in dissolved minerals like hydrogen sulfide, and jets back out into the ocean. Bacteria and archaea around these vents harness chemical energy, for example, by oxidizing hydrogen sulfide, to make organic molecules. In plain words, these microbes eat chemistry instead of light. Those microbes form the base of an ecosystem that includes giant tube worms, unusual crustaceans, clams, and bizarre vent fishes. Life forms you won't find anywhere else. For these communities, the sun going out changes almost nothing. These vent ecosystems could persist for millions of years, sustained by geothermal energy, until Earth's internal heat eventually wanes. So the last refuges back on the surface, with photosynthesis gone, all plants, from microscopic algae to giant trees, would die. Some very large trees might hang on for a few decades. Herbivores would starve, then carnivores would follow. Only a tiny fraction of humans might survive initially by retreating into deep underground shelters powered by nuclear reactors or geothermal plants. Places that already rely heavily on geothermal power, like Iceland, would have a better chance at sustaining small human populations for longer. But surface life as we know it would become impossible. Over very long timescales, even the atmosphere would begin to condense and freeze. Gases like nitrogen and oxygen could deposit as snow on a frigid surface, a truly bleak end. What about the black hole itself? Let's look more closely. If the entire mass of the sun, about 99.86% of the solar system's mass, were compressed into a black hole, the Schwarzschild radius, the radius of the event horizon, would be tiny, only about 3 kilometers. That means the sun's current diameter of 1.4 million kilometers would have to be squashed down to a sphere roughly 6 kilometers across. So anything that happened to get extremely close to that 6-kilometer sphere, for example, an unlucky spacecraft that managed to stray inside, would cross the event horizon and never return. But at planetary distances, we're safe, in the sense that orbits remain the same. So that's the scenario. If you enjoyed this thought experiment and have other wacky what-if ideas, leave them in the comments. Maybe they'll be future video topics. Don't forget to like and subscribe, my friend.